Good afternoon. Here we are with Evaldas. And this is his song. I don't like walking around this cold and empty house, so hold my hand and walk with you, my dear. Let's just put this on so people know what the song is. The stairs creak as you sleep, it's keeping me awake. It's the house telling you to close your eyes, my dear. Though the truth may vary, a ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. Oh, I lost it there. So listen to the word I say. Hey, the prayer will sound the same. Though the truth may vary, the ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. And that's all you're getting because the show's about you, Evaldas, not the song.
Good one. Hey,
what a great choice of song there. You're really testing me, aren't you, you little devil, you? So
I'm
tell
trying
me,
my best.
Why did you choose that song?
This is the song I played back in 2011 through to 2015 in the London bars and clubs. That would get everybody going. It's actually a song about a relationship, and it has a mental health aspect to it. And as a mental health advocate, so yeah, it's close to my heart.
Oh, absolutely fantastic story. Hang on, you played this. Where did you play this?
As a DJ in bars.
Oh, how super cool!
Walkabout, Temple, Fire. I mean, yeah, quite a few.
Oh, that is fantastic! Oh, awesome! Oh, I hope I did the song justice for you, sir. Because that's it's a very overproduced song, isn't it? There's a lot of people in that band.
It's a beautiful song, though.
Eight or 10 people in the band.
I think they are from Iceland. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
they are. So, hey, anyway, Evaldas, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Good. Always good.
Good. Perfect. And are you going to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. If you ask.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm a startup advisor and mentor. And I've literally joined LinkedIn. Well, I started posting on LinkedIn 6 months ago. Okay. And I've had the account for a while, I think. But, that's another subject for that.
Fantastic. So Claudia and Ali, they're friends of yours?
Now I can't see the chat, but yes, Claudia, of course. And here we go. And Ali, well, we will be friends now.
That's awesome. Apparently, he thinks I've got a nice voice. So thanks ever so much, Ali, for joining us today.
There we go.
So we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn. And I know you've been doing some amazing stuff on LinkedIn. And, you're getting a lot of traction and doing a lot of stuff with your startup work. But do you use other social media?
No, this is. I mean, I can explain. So I was on Facebook because one of the first businesses that I've had was a live music and sports events company, and I used Facebook to promote events. Now, sort of 3-4 years ago, I kind of quit Facebook. Well, I tried to quit Facebook for a while. Not just the negativity, but I got sort of bored. I have a growth mindset, and therefore Facebook for learning didn't quite work like that for me. And 6 months ago, somebody who doesn't have LinkedIn, ironic, we had a conversation, and they literally said, you have to go on LinkedIn. And I said, why? Oh. You don't know. I mean, yeah, that's how it started.
How did that conversation go then? Because that's quite interesting. Because
we talked about startups. We talked about startups all night. And this is someone I've just met, basically. And we've just talked about startups and sort of probably 3 a.m. or something in a pub, and sort of literally that was the last thing. He said, you know what? Good conversation. You have to go on LinkedIn. And I kind of laughed it off. But a growth mindset within me, I went back home. I slept, I'm not going to lie, probably a couple of hours because this was constantly, what is this? I mean, LinkedIn, I have LinkedIn, which I've had LinkedIn, but it's inactive, only maybe a couple of thousand. And then, I logged in and that's when it started. I literally, my eyes lit up and I thought, wow, so much knowledge, so much to give, so much to gain, so much.
It is. So why do you use it and what do you like about it then?
The idea, I think, was still the same idea, it's like I pay forward every day. I help people in the startup world. But also, I think the initial idea was to actually learn from people. Again, a growth mindset comes in because the first time I logged in, opportunities, if I'm not good at finance, I want to learn finance. There will be someone talking about finance. If I want, whatever, music. And then I kind of sort of, over the last 6 months, I've been testing a lot. So that's how it got stuck. But now the idea, I guess, is business, right? But LinkedIn is very different from what it was before. So now I remember this very well. I didn't post. However, it was suited and booted, no jokes, has to be serious content. It's different now. So I'm liking that now.
It's much better, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, good. So how often do you post your own content?
Every day, I think.
Absolutely every day. Even weekends.
Well, this is the thing. Something I figured out. Okay, and there's no. I mean, there's no way of beating an algorithm, but
Nope.
there's pros and cons, right? So I think people say don't post on Monday, don't post on Saturday, don't post on Sunday. You've heard this. I mean, you know how it goes. Exactly. But the truth is, it's all about the niche. It's all about what is it that you're posting about, and you know what? My best posts are Saturdays and Sundays, actually. Funnily enough, if you were to ask me. And yes, we do found this Sunday initiative, so maybe that's unfair advantage. But recently, last week, my best post was on Saturday. That's when there's less competition. Think about it that way as well. There are not many people, maybe. However, your content is more visible. That's what I see, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a bit like, I suppose it's a bit like selling Christmas cards in June. No one else has got Christmas cards in the shop, so you're going to do really well. But not many people are buying Christmas cards. So yeah, but at the moment you can't walk past a shop that isn't selling Christmas cards, can you?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think LinkedIn, when I started, it was easy to get the how do I put this, relevant creators, maybe. I just want to make sure I worded it the right way. But now, after 6 months, I'm struggling actually to find people, and I can tell this. It's going to be 6 months and 10 days that I've been posting and being active on this platform. But finding good content creators is very difficult now. There's a lot of it depends what you like, of course, but everyone's promoting themselves in their own way, I guess. But it depends on what are you trying to achieve. Because if your goal is, say business, I want to do business. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, some of the professions, it makes sense to put selfies, etc., etc., etc. But, if it's educational content, maybe, or you're resolving some startup issues, fun is not always the right medium, if I may say so.
Yeah. Horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you have to choose, if you're talking about mental health, and you're posting, selfies smiling, I don't think that's also the right way to do it.
No, interesting. No, I like that.
I mean, if you're happy, it's good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You're smiling, but then when I read the content, I don't understand. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I like that. So how much time do you actually spend daily on LinkedIn? I want an honest answer.
Okay, so I think for the first 4 months, I'm not gonna lie, I was almost like 5-7 hours. I think I don't want to lie, but it was a lot.
Really?
So that growth that you see now with that account, and my story, I had a couple of thousand or something, or 4,000, whatever that number was, and it was all corporate life. So my past life, and not many people. I mean, none of them are into startups. So effectively, I've been rebuilding my audience and community over the last 6 months, and that's really difficult because as part of the growth mindset, and in general the way I see things, is that I want to provide value. I'm currently not selling anything, I don't have a course or anything like that, but I still want to provide value. I want to help people. That's actually my need. It's good for my mental health, so there's a lot of stuff going on there.
That makes a lot of sense. Right, okay, so I've lost my questions now. Where did they go to? Oh, there we go. Sorry. Do you get business as a result of what you are doing on LinkedIn?
It's started coming up now. So I wouldn't say, you join LinkedIn and you get business right away, because, I don't sell anything. That's, again, I have to repeat that. So that comes from that part as well, I think. But lately, in the last month, things are happening. So I would say, I've read somewhere it takes up to 18 months to build a personal brand. So.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how accurate that is, but it says 12 to 18 months. That's what it said.
Yeah, so where have you got this from?
Online. Not on LinkedIn, though.
Right, okay.
So, because, on LinkedIn, they say anything,
Yeah. So if anyone knows, that would be really interesting to understand. But yeah, you can't do it overnight. There's no such thing as an overnight success. And this is what everybody forgets.
it's consistency. Something we spoke about with you is that people look at numbers, and I think everybody concentrates on followers, connections. But the problem is, well, it's not the problem, but the main issue is it's quality over quantity everywhere, all the time. I think and people just they get lost on that mission, because what is your persona? Whose problems are you solving? And so, of course, a growth of an account that solves problems and understands that, in comparison to an account that just blindly connects with people every day or whatever, follows or gets people to follow him, in the long run, you end up with a huge account and there'll be no activity, there'll be no engagement because it'll be irrelevant. That's what I
Yeah, not good. So that's your LinkedIn. Tell us a little bit about what you actually do to help startups then.
I work with founders as a startup advisor and mentor. So I help them, planning, strategy, business plan, MVP, pitch decks. So it's a full cycle at early stage, pre-seed and seed. Always pay forward on Fridays. I give 5 free calls, 30 minutes each. So also we're building Founder Sunday community. That's a free group. And any founder can join. We have, I think, over 700 startup founders. So that's 700 plus startups. And again, this group is free. And you can speak to like-minded people. You can remove founder bias, and community is really crucial. And I think, you have this community, and I have nothing wrong against paid communities, but I've been building communities for 20 years, especially going back to the events and so on, is that nothing wrong with it being paid, but normally it's inactive. And I've built paid all sorts of communities. So the value often, how likely are you to have in that community top advisors, mentors, they don't have time. It's important to understand that, because people think I'm going to join the community and there'll be Ashley, 5 times exited founder giving me advice. Ashley won't be there. There'll be just somebody else typing. So the truth is, making it free, you allow for everybody to join it, and then people can talk to each other and validate the ideas, practice the pitch, etc., etc. I think that's a good initiative there.
Yeah, and you're surrounding yourself with people who are doing the same thing. So, has anyone here ever tried XYZ? Yes, I have, and this is the answer. And yeah, I tried that and it didn't work, so we tried this instead. And
correct.
I
think
you start getting that coming on.
One of the main issues as well with founders, I think in general, is that you have that idea, and I've had this myself, and I failed a couple of startups recently myself. Is that you believe in that idea so much that you just concentrate on building it without actually getting the feedback from the customers. And, one of the questions that I get, apart from fundraising is number one, of course, in my DMs. But, people ask, okay, so I need to raise money to build an MVP to test the market. I mean, that's wrong. It's not how you do it, right? Because the truth is, you need to be able to prove that your product is needed in the market.
No, absolutely. So what's the top tip that you could give to someone who's just about to go to set up their own business?
Not to do my mistake and straight away go and create a logo or set up an entity, because that's not how it works. That's the list of the things that you should be doing. Because that's my mistake I did. Many people think about, okay, I'm going to go and get, domain is another thing. You should get a domain if you have a great idea, I think. But, I think it's important to be a part of the community. Like, say, we're talking startups here. Get into a community, startup community, and speak to people with a growth mindset. People who do stuff, because this is something that pegged me down for many years, especially in my corporate life. I've been surrounded by people with a fixed mindset. People who were faking it, that's number one. I didn't realize that I was young and foolish. Now just foolish. So, so the problem here is, that, you have all these people who are faking it. And at the same time, they all sort of, their goals are titles, money, etc., etc. Once you're in that circle, I was lost in that circle. I've had a great career, but that's how I got lost. I got submerged because, 5 figures, 6 figure salary. And you're in a rat race. You don't realize, and suddenly you're stuck. So I think, it's important to, be with people who are building the same things and not be afraid to ask. I know this is now many tips, but always ask for help and ask questions. Like and 20 years ago and 10 years ago, it was different.
People are so ready to help, though, aren't they? That's the thing.
People are ready to help, but I think, and this is an idea for a post this week, I think, actually, thanks, is that people are ready to help, but the problem is how you ask for that help, okay? I think, and I'm not the only one, and I think many will relate if people are watching as well, is like, if you're asking for help, when you approach people, you don't go, hi, you don't go, hello. Those are not the messages you need to send. You need to be clear, precise. Okay, this is what's going on. This is what I need from you. This is what I can bring to the table. This is very easy, actually, if you think about it. So, but the problem is I didn't know this. Okay, don't, like 20 years ago I wasn't like this. But this is what I've learned, and I think communication and building relationships, normally founders don't have that. They give me the money, look at my pitch deck. What kind of help will you be getting if you go like this? It's about mutual respect and respecting the time, not ghosting people, turning up for meetings. It's all part of the. Yeah. It's a business. I mean,
And what challenges do you see startups having?
This is a good question. Well, the main one, fundraising. All I see is fundraising constantly. But I think the problem with fundraising, and I'm learning every day. I never called myself an expert, but the truth is, with fundraising, is people don't understand how fundraising works, and so they see. And I think I've posted about this recently. And I kind of was like this, similar. I had that mindset. Is that you see investors as money bags. Like, I've built this thing. This is going to be the next big thing, and people will give me money. That's not how it works. Right? Because at pre-seed and seed, anybody can tell you, the investment happens. It's all about the founders who can execute. It's a founder market fit. It's many things, actually. So it's like you have people on LinkedIn posting stuff saying, if you do this, this is going to work. It's actually very individual as well. So this is the problem with LinkedIn. You said what I like about LinkedIn, but this is what I hate about LinkedIn. There's a lot of unsolicited advice. And I think if I was a first-time startup founder, had no idea about startups, joining LinkedIn would be exciting, but in a number of weeks or months, I'd get lost. Because how do I know? There's so much information, and people saying, I'm not going to give examples because this is recorded. It's going live as well. But I have examples of well-known and followed people giving advice that's, well, unfortunately is... you can say it's a good advice, but without the concept and explaining it and how, the pros and cons and how it works, it's not a good advice. Because, I could give you all sorts of advice, but in a certain situation, building a certain product, people saying you can build an MVP in a week. I mean, seriously, I think that's a lie. So, and then people who just they're starting out, when they see this 1 week MVP, great. But that's not true, So
no, it's not. No.
It's a tough one.
And I think the biggest problem for entrepreneurs is seeing everybody else doing well and thinking that you can do it really quickly.
But what they don't know is the backstory, how they got there. How many hours, how many. I mean, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, you asked me about all these things, I wouldn't have a clue, because the problem is, repeating myself, I was building the product, tunnel vision. This was my problem, and that's many founders like this. And then, they sort of, fundraising. It has to be fundraising. But the truth is, majority raise from a point of weakness. You don't have customers, you don't have MRR. I mean, so this is where the problem starts. So it's actually, I think it's difficult for a founder in a way that you have to learn so many things. So I'm a generalist, and I still struggle. Think about it. If you're a product manager and you're building a startup, there's so much to learn. Things change, and that unsolicited advice is always around the corner. So it's filtering out the noise once again.
Fantastic. So when you're not working, and when you're not doing LinkedIn, and when you're not doing DJ stuff, what do you do in your spare time then, Evaldas?
I love cooking and wine.
As a chef.
I cook the meanest risotto in town. I'm not a chef, but so I love cooking. That's what's going on, and always listening to the music in the background, because I play piano. I'm deeply connected to music like yourself, and I think I play badminton. This is one of the things that I'm still fit for. Still a tough game. Still a tough game.
I was going to say, you
It's
sort
a
of like
tough
think
game.
messing around with the shuttlecock. It's
No!
not. It is a tough game.
When I lived in London, we played in, I forgot now. I think it was Tooting. I don't remember now very well, but this many moons ago, there was this guy who played in the park. And this guy, what did he say? Oh, you're playing, I think, golf sports or something. So this is something that he said. And I said, come and join. And it lasted 2 minutes. And I said,
yeah,
you see?
absolutely.
So I think, women are tough. If that's what you're saying, then women are tough.
Yeah.
At least they could play for longer than 2 minutes because you couldn't. It's actually a tough sport. And but my interests are, this is one of the things I'm fighting with constantly in my life is actually limiting the things I'm involved in, because I'm super passionate about startups, but also I'm super passionate about music, about cooking, many things, right? And this is where, learning how to sort of build boundaries, right? And learning to say, no, this is something that I sort of keep reminding myself about. Because, one day it could be a walk in the forest, another day it could be badminton, cooking. But the truth is there's only 24 hours in a day. And when you say when you're not working, but I'm always working on LinkedIn or, a full-time job.
But it's finding things that keep you smiling, and you just seem so happy, which is absolutely fantastic. You've been a lovely guest. I've got one more question for you, but I'm just going to quickly go to my guest next week, who is the lovely Stella Morrissey. She makes garlands. She's got a great story, so she's coming on next week to have a chat with us. So my final question to you is, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Eliminate wishes and talkers and connect with doers. Surround yourself with people with growth mindset. This is what I said earlier.
I love it.
Because this is something, this is based on, if I smile because I know at 16 impossible to know that, but the truth is a certain portion of my life, a number of years, I could say this actually openly, I was surrounded, like we sometimes get surrounded by the wrong people, and not to say that there's nothing wrong with fixed mindset. Also, I make it sound as if it's nothing wrong, not everybody wants to grow, right? But when you're in the wrong, in the wrong room with the wrong people, this is something I realized later in life, that the things that I've built, the things that I did, if only they were with people with the same mindset, we would have achieved much more.
No, fantastic. Hey, Evaldas, thank you so much for being on the show. We will see you all next week. Thank you for your lovely comments. Pleasure. And all the very best. And we'll see you soon. Cheerio now.
Thank you, Ashley. Bye.